Good evening and welcome to Bellshill Central Parish Church for another Organist Entertains. We are now at episode 25. That's almost a quarter century, isn't it? So I do hope that you're enjoying the episodes that we're broadcasting for you. The songs, the hymns and the music that's been included. Tonight we have a feast of music, hymns old, hymns new, and a couple of organ pieces which I'm sure that you'll enjoy hearing. Just a reminder, we need your hymn requests. It's not fair just for a couple of people to get their choice all the time. So we want you to send in your requests to me and we'll get them included for you. So anyway, enough from me and let's get on with our first item. Our first hymn tonight has been requested before. However, that's good. It means that it's a good popular hymn. The hymn is At the Name of Jesus, Every Knee Shall Bow. And that has been requested from our friend John Hume from Craiglockhart Church in Edinburgh. Now, At the Name of Jesus was written in 1870 by Caroline Noel. Now, Caroline Noel was born in Kent in 1817. She was the daughter of an Anglican clergyman and hymn writer. And she began to write poetry in her late teens, but then abandoned it until she was in her 40s. During those years, she suffered frequent bouts of illness and eventually became an invalid. To encourage both herself and others who were ill or incapacitated, she began to write devotional verses again. And her first collection was called The Name of Jesus and Other Verses for the Sick and Lonely. We sing it to the tune Camberwell, so I do hope that you enjoy At the Name of Jesus, requested by John Hume. Our second item tonight has been requested by Mary Mathew. It is In a Monastery Garden. Now, In a Monastery Garden is described as being a piece of light classical music, and it is composed by Albert Kettleby, who composed it in 1915 after a visit to a real monastic garden, now the Benedictine monastery of St Gustin's Abbey in Chilworth in Surrey. It's a beautiful piece of music, and my mum remembers it getting played back in Chalmers Church by the organist then, Jimmy Marshall. I don't remember hearing it, but it is a lovely piece of music, and it does show off lots of colours and tones of the organ here in Bellshill Central. For Mum, we have In a Monastery Garden. Enjoy it. Our third item tonight isn't a request, it's a hymn that I've slotted in just because it's special for people at this time of year. It is the hymn Just As I Am Without One Plea, and I've chosen it as a anniversary song, a reminder for people, because it was a favourite hymn, or one of the favourite hymns, because he had many, of Bill Cameron, who sadly passed away a year ago this month. Just As I Am is a well-known hymn, and it's been written by Charlotte Elliott in 1835, first appearing in the Christian Remembrancer, of which Charlotte Elliott became an editor in 1836. And the final verse is taken from her Hours of Sorrow, Cheered and Comforted, again from 1836. This can be sung to many a tune. Woodworth is one, and that I think is the tune that would be remembered from the Billy Graham movement. However, we're singing it to the tune Saffron Walden, which was written by Arthur Brown in 1890. So here we have, as a remembering of Bill, Just As I Am Without One Plea. Our fourth item tonight has been requested by Andrew MacLeod, our friend from Clincarrt Hill Church in Glasgow. It's a hymn which is new in our newest edition of our hymn book, Church Hymnary 4th edition. It is No Wind at the Window, and that is a Christmas and Advent hymn. Its new words, originally from Innkeepers and Light Sleepers, a hymn by John Bell of the Iona community and the Wild Goose Resource Group. It retells the narrative of the Annunciation in Luke chapter 1, verses 26 to 38. The hymn is faithful to the text, but it has a vivid modern ring. The tune that it's set to in the hymn book is beautiful, and it's Colum Killie, and that is a melody arranged by John Bell, and it's an Irish traditional melody. However, he's requested it that we sing it to the tune Cradle Song, which is more familiar to you, to Away in a Manger, No Crib for a Bed. But the words do fit it quite beautifully. So here we have new words to a familiar old tune, requested by Andrew MacLeod. Enjoy. Our fifth item tonight is a well-loved hymn. It is I Will Sing the Wondrous Story. The hymn has been requested by Ed Anderson, our minister's former organist back in Florida Methodist Church in South Africa. Now, I Will Sing the Wondrous Story was written in 1886 by Francis Rowley. We sing it to the tune of Hyfrydol, and that was written by Roland Hugh Pritchard, a Welshman. We have it played to you by a Scottish organist. So that is a hymn written by an English hymn writer, set to the tune by a Welsh musician, and played here in Scotland by a Scottish organist, and requested by a South African, Ed Anderson. So enjoy this marvellous old hymn, I Will Sing the Wondrous Story. Our sixth item tonight continues our little mini-series of the Psalms. It is Psalm 23, "The Lord's my shepherd, I'll not want." The hymn has also been requested by Bellshill Central choir member Anne Guy. Very, very good memories of family times, and just a hymn that brings a lot of comfort to her. So tonight we're of course going to have the verses all played to the well-known tune of Crimond, but interestingly enough, it can be sang to quite a fair number of tunes. Now, the first tune that we're going to hear it played to is Wiltshire. And Wiltshire is a tune by George Thomas Smart, and it was harmonised for the Scottish Psalter in 1899. Now, the next tune that we're going to hear it played to is a tune very, very well loved by some Scottish churches. It is the tune of Orlington. And Orlington was written by John Campbell, who was alive in 1807 to 1860. And this does call for the repeating of a line in the middle of it to make it fit. The next tune that we're going to hear it to is Brother James's Heir, a tune made famous by the Orpheus Choir with Sir Hugh Roberton at the helm. And Brother James's Heir is a melody by James Leith Macbeth Bain, who was alive 1860 to 1923. And this particular version of it has been harmonised by John Bell, as found in our current hymn book. However, we are going to sing it to the tune of Crimond, which is a familiar tune that everybody will be aware of. Crimond is a Scottish psalm tune by Jesse Seymour Irvine, written in 1872, and it is synonymous with "The Lord's my shepherd." So enjoy the different tunes that we can sing this to, and do sing along with Crimond for the hymn requested by Anne Guy. We're almost at the end of tonight's episode. Our seventh item has been requested by Drew McGregor. Now, Drew McGregor is a friend from Hamilton, and his wife Elspeth and he tune in faithfully to all of the episodes here from Bellshill Central for our Organist Entertains. It was Drew's birthday last week, and he has requested the tune, the song, Hymn to Freedom. And that's a 1962 song by Oscar Peterson from the album Night Train. It's a beautiful melody with some very lush harmony chords underneath it. And I do hope that, Drew, you approve of it being played on the organ when it is, of course, a piano jazz piece. So I also believe that tonight is Elspeth and Drew's wedding anniversary. So happy wedding anniversary to you both. Enjoy the Hymn to Freedom by Oscar Peterson. Well, we've reached the end of another Organist Entertains, and we finish off tonight with our eighth request. It has been requested by Alexa and Bobby Walker, both members here at Bellshill Central Parish Church. It is the hymn, We Have Heard a Joyful Sound, Jesus Saves. This was written by Priscilla J. Owens, and we sing it to the tune of Limpsfield, written by Josiah Booth. I always like playing this because when we get to the third verse, the words are, Sing above the battle's strife, Jesus saves. But halfway through, the words change to, Sing it softly through the gloom, which means the organ gets to do some wonderful word painting by changing the stops to make it sound a little bit more gentler before we get to Sing in triumph o'er the tomb, Jesus saves. So here we have an old favourite hymn of We Have Heard the Joyful Sound, and it is requested from Alexa and Bobby. Please do everybody enjoy, and I look forward to meeting you again next Wednesday for another Organist Entertains. Good night and keep safe.